السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله، أهلا وسهلا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. ونوّر قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك، واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرادك، وجعلنا من ورثة يوم النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم سامعين مطيعين من أوليائك المخلصين. اللهم ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير بك نستعين يا فتاح ويا عليم. So we're still already discussing the Messiah with regards to shirk and so forth. We're in the chapter concerning claims, conflict resolution, and tasarruf usage. We completed the dawah claims and the conflicts that might occur and how to resolve them. Now we're in the masail with regards to the usage of the water. And there are approximately 10 masail in this part of it. So he starts by saying, فإن كان الأعلى منهم لا يشرب حتى يسكر النهر ويسكر النهر لم يكن له ذلك لما فيه من إبطال حق الباكين. That if the person on the upper part of the river, of the lake, he is unable to drink from it, unable to use it, irrigate his land from it, حتى يسكر, until he closes the river. Okay? Until he closes the river. لم يكن له ذلك. He doesn't have the right to do it. Right? So the person on the upper portion, the only way he can get sufficient water into his land is by blocking off the river and causing it to come into his dam or into the pathway that he has built his canal in order to irrigate his land. Then he doesn't have the right to do that. So this is sakara, yaskura, and the same with yaskuru, with a dhamma. It doesn't refer to getting drunk. But here it means to saddada, and to block off. Maybe it comes from the same semantic field, because when you get drunk, your mind becomes blocked off. Allah Alam. Anyway, yaskura, so he doesn't have the right to block off the river in order to irrigate his land. Why? لما فيه من إبطال حق الباقين, because in that he will be invalidating the right of the others. ولكنه يشرب حيث rather will irrigate according to his proportion. فإن ترادوا على أن يذكر الأعلى النهر حتى يشرب بحصته واصطلحوا على أن يذكر كل رجل منه في نوبته جازا. However you will irrigate according. And if all of them mutually agree, that he may do so, that he may block off the river, the upper portion of the river, until he has irrigated his land, and in accordance to his share, or they all reach an agreement, and they're all mutually happy, or they come to an agreement, a sulah, they mutually agree, they mutually come to an understanding, Allah ayyaskura kulla rajulin minhum, that every person in his turn will do the same. Okay? So every person has a term by day or whatever, and in his turn, each person has the right to block off the river until he is able to bring the water onto his land. So obviously that will mean that others below him or beneath him for that day will either get very little water, will get very little water. But they're happy to do that. So jaz, I will be permissible. Why? Why? Because the right is theirs. And so meaning, because it is their right, they have a right to waiver that right. because it is their haq. So therefore, they are by the right. They are within their. It's in their authority to waive that right. إلا أنه إذا تمكن من ذلك بلوح لا يذكر بما ينكبس به النار من غير تراضٍ. However, if he is able to do that, then من ذلك بلوح with a piece of wood, if he is able to block off the river with using wood, or he's using wood because that was like the common tool in those days. But what that actually must actually mean is, if you use any type of material in today's time, a metal plate, like a sluice gate, whatever. But the point is here that the material is such that it doesn't stop the water completely, because like a board, piece of what you call wood, or even a sluice gate, once the water reaches the top, it will go over that board, over that plank, or over the gate, and start carry on flowing. Understand? So once it reaches a certain volume, because obviously now you're blocking up the river, so the water is getting higher and getting fuller and fuller, because you can't go past that blockage. So as the water level rises, the longer you keep it blocked, eventually it will reach the top of your sluice gate, the top of that piece of plank, and flow over it. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
See, so once it flows over that, it will continue on to the other land. So what he's saying is, if you can use such material where the water isn't completely blocked off, but it can continue flowing, so you will still take the benefit of the raised water level, where the water will come quicker into your pot. But at the same time, the others won't be completely blocked off from the water. The water won't be completely stopped. It will come, might not be in the same volume as they used to. At least they'll get something, then that will be better. Okay? So he's saying, however, if he's able to do that من ذلك بلوح, with a piece of wood, then لا يسكر بما ينكبس به النهر. Then he shouldn't block off the river, which was something that will completely stop the river. من غير راض, without mutual consent. In Kabas and Kabisu, to completely stop. Like for example, you're using sand, and then he makes like a bank, a temporary bank there. Okay? That will completely stop the water from going. لكونه إضرارا بهم. Why? Because this will cause harm to them. Then for that day or whatever, they won't get no water at all. وليس لأحدهم. Okay, so you understood that? So that's one masala done. Right? Got that? Second masala done. See? Got that?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay. Next masala. وليس لأحدهم, also concerning tasarruf, أن يكري منهم نهرا أو ينسب عليه رحى ماء إلا برضاء أصحابه. And neither of them have the right to dig any channel, ينهر من a channel, or a sluice, or ينسب, or build a windmill, a watermill, sorry, on a watermill, إلا برضاء أصحابه, except with the permission of his other companions, except with the permission of his neighbors. لأن فيه كسر ضفة النهر. Why? Because in these two things, by him digging a separate channel, or by him building a watermill, he will have to break the bank of the river. وشغل موضع مشترك بالبناء. And he will be occupying a shared space with that building, with the construction of it. Okay? So because he's going to be making tasarruf in other people's haq, he'll be utilizing other people's haq to achieve this. Therefore, he doesn't have the right to do that. إلا أن يكون رحى لا يضر بالنهر ولا بالماء, unless the watermill doesn't harm the river nor the water. What do we mean by that? ويكون موضع في أرض صاحبها, and the place of construction, the place of the mill, watermill, will be in the land, within the borders of the land of the owner's land, or the person constructing the land, the mall. لأنه تصرف في ملك نفسه, because in that case he is working in his own property. He is utilizing or he is doing work within his own property. So nobody can tell him what to do there. ولا ضرر في حق غيره, and there's no harm being caused to the others. Now what do we mean harm to the river or harm to the water? So ومعنى ضرر بالنهر ما بينا in كسر ضفته or ضفته. And the meaning of causing harm to the river means what? What we explained previously, that it's breaking the bank. And you're going to be breaking the river bank in order to put up this construction or in order to create another channel into your property. You have to break the bank of the river. So he's saying you can't do this with these two conditions. Mustn't harm the river, mustn't harm the others. Mustn't harm the water, sorry. What do you mean by not harming the river? Meaning mustn't change the landscape of the river by breaking the bank. Okay? What do you mean by changing the water? يتغير عن سننه not سنة سننه عن سننه الذي كان يجري عليه. That it changes the path that it used to flow upon. It changes the way or the path or the way it used to flow before. Meaning that by you by you building those things, constructing those things, the water level isn't the same anymore, or the frequency of the water flow isn't the same anymore. Okay? Understood that? Any questions? Okay, that's it.
No.
Okay.
No, alhamdulillah, understood that.
Okay, I think that's what is the third one, third or fourth one. Okay, next masala. والتالية والثانية نذير رحى. Then that's the masala. And the Dahlia and the Sanya is the same as the wind, meaning the masala related to the wind, which we just discussed. Same will apply to the Dahlia and the Sanya. The Dahlia, I don't know if you've seen those old pictures in those days. They used to construct like this, almost like a pole, right, on the side of the bank, standing up straight, right? And the top of the pole, they've got another pole like a lever with a bucket at the end. So that can go up and down. So there's a horizontal pole, and mounted on top of that pole is a second pole, but that pole is like a seesaw. You follow? It's got like a pivot there, going like a seesaw. At the end of it, it's got a bucket. So what you do is you lower that arm into the water to draw the water, and then you pivot it, then it can spin around. You pivot it onto your land, into your channel, drop the water, and again. That's it, like that. You follow?
Yeah.
So it's almost what you would have done to a well by lowering the bucket yourself. Now you've got a mechanism to do that directly from the river. But you obviously have to do it manually in those days. So that is Dahlia. The word Dalwin, right? And Sania is whether we are using the animal to do so. Using an animal to draw water from the river in a similar fashion. Okay? So both of these are the same, meaning that by you constructing that mechanism, if it's going to cause a change to the river or to the water, then it won't be allowed. I say without the other's permission. Okay, that's the masala finished. Next masala. ولا يتخذ عليه جسرا ولا قنطرة بمنزلة طريق خاص بين قوم بخلاف ما إذا. And it is not allowed to build a bridge. Just jisran and kantara mean the same thing, bridge. The difference is that jisr is a bolt, something which you build, a bridge you build. It's a construction. Whereas kantara is just any platform you put. It's not fixed. You just stick a board across the river. It's not constructed in any way, and it's like a makeshift platform. Whether the jisr is constructed out of wood or bricks or whatever, it's made. You understand? It's constructed. You follow? But both means bridges. So you're not allowed to construct a bridge over the river بمنزلة طريق خاص, just like how you're not allowed to build a special road for yourself بين قوم when it has been shared amongst many people. بخلاف ما إذا كان لواحد نهر, contrary if a person has نهر خاص, if a person has a special river or he has a river which belongs to him, again like a stream running off the main river, which belongs specific to him. And in that case, obviously, because it's on his own property, he can build a bridge across it if he wants to. يأخذ من نهر خاص, in which he has drawn from a river which is shared amongst different people. Right? So this is the surah number 3, which we discussed previously. So you got the main river, and from there you got a tributary. That tributary is shared by a few people, 10, 15, whatever amount of people. Their properties happen to be on the banks of the tributary of the main river. So that tributary is khas to them only. And then from that tributary, this person has got his own channel, own little stream running onto his property. Okay?
sì,
So he can build a bridge over his own little stream that he's got running there. Okay?
sì,
فأراد أن يقنطر عليه ويستوثق منه له ذلك. Right? So in this case here, the person, if he wishes to build a bridge over it, or he wishes to fortify a bridge over it, then he has the right to do that. أو كان مقنطرة مستوثقا فأراد أن ينقضه. Or there is a fortified bridge and he wants to break it down, and then he can do that also. ولا يزيد ذلك في أخذ الماء حيث يكون له ذلك. And by him doing so, it won't result in him getting more water than the others, or what was stipulated for him. Right? By him either building the bridge or breaking the bridge, it will only result in him getting more than his apportioned share. Then له ذلك, they say he has the right to do that. ولأنه يتصرف في خالص ملكه وضعا ورفعا. Why? Because in this case here, he is acting in something which is his private property. وضعا, by placing the bridge, ورفعا, or by breaking it down, as the case may be. Whether it's constructing the bridge or breaking down the bridge, both will be the same, because in this case here he is uh, acting within his own property, on his own property. Follow?
sì,
And ولا ضرر بالشركاء. The other partners are not harmed by him doing so in either way. بأخذ زيادة الماء, how will they be harmed? By him taking extra water. Okay? So they're not harmed by him getting extra water and was proportioned to him and what was apportioned to him. So therefore, why should he not be allowed to do so? ويمنع من أن يوسع النهر أفام النهر لأنه يكسر ضفة النهر. And he will be prevented, stopped from widening the mouth of the river, because this needs or requires him to break the bank of the river. ويزيد على مقدار حقه, and also this will increase the amount that he is entitled to. Amount of water is entitled to في أخذ الماء. Understood it?
sì.
I think that was at number 5 or 6. I don't remember. Not keep track anyway. Next مسألة. Okay, we'll do the stop here. Right? وكذا إذا كانت القسمة بالكوى وكذا إذا أراد أن يؤخر أنفى منها. And similar will be the case if the division of the water is dependent upon the kiwa. The kiwa is similar to what we discussed last week in the other Messiah, where each person has a sluice gate on his property to allow the water to come in or block it when he doesn't need any more. Okay. So if the division of the water is based upon this kiwa, that one day you left the sluice gate to allow the water to come through, and then the next day is the next person's turn, and so on and so forth, whatever the agreement is. Understand? So if the division of the water is based upon this, that each one has a sluice gate to allow and block off the water. وكذا إذا أراد أن يؤخر عن فم النهر, the masla is the same. The masla is the same. Okay? And similarly, if he intends to move his gate, his sluice gate, from the mouth of the river, فيجعلها في أربعة أذرع منه, and he wants to place it about four lengths into his property, or four lengths from his property, لإحباس فيه, in order to bring the water into there and stop it there. So to create like a dam, you can say, like a private dam. He wants to create like a private dam on his own property by moving the gate a little bit back from the mouth, or from the opening of the river. By him moving it back, it will create like a space for the water to come in, and he'll block it there, creating a small little dam on his property, private dam on his property. He won't have the right to do that. Why? فَيَزْدَادُ دُخُولُ الْمَاءِ, because the water will increase, and the entry of the water will increase by him doing that. So you can't do that because he's taking more than his haq. Okay?
mm,
بخلاف ما إذا أراد أن يسفل كواه أو يرفعها حيث يكون ذلك بالصحيح. Contrary to the masala, if the person intends to move the gate somewhere else, he's got it, let's say, in the middle of his property, he wants to move it a little bit down or a little further up in the same line, but he wants to move the place where it is. Okay, then he can do that, because in this case he's not taking more than his haq. He's just merely making himself more comfortable, or maybe it's a bit more convenient for him. Right? Less area to cover, or whatever, by moving it to that new spot. Okay, so that's fine. You follow?
okay.
Like I said, we actually need to draw something. So you put that stools up yesterday. Um, maybe okay, inshallah, I'll try to maybe just draw something, and I'll send you the notes. You can put it up one of the days, inshallah. It'll be easier to understand that, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Anyway, understood all this?
Okay.
Any questions? Anything you didn't understand?
No, I'm understood okay. So the first
Okay.
one is by the entrance of the river, and the second one is it was on his property already.
The first one is by the mouth of the river, yeah. Wants to widen it. And the second one is, where each one's got their own little stream coming onto their property where the water comes in. So that's where you normally put your gate in there, right? Now what he wants to do is to move it from there a little further back into his property. Understand? So the water
Yeah.
will come into that stream, but then get blocked. So you follow? So
Yeah.
that will create like a small little dam on his property, which will lead to an increase in the water. You get a increased volume of water coming in there. You understand? So to block up in his property, and he's got like a storage. He's got it there. He's got it like almost like stored there, like a small little dam. You can't do that. You can't store the water like that. You can use it for irrigation purposes, but you can't store the water up like that, increasing the volume of his water, because it might lead to others getting less or him getting more than what he's supposed to have taken.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Yeah, if he wants to move the location of it, that's fine. A little further up his property, a little further up his property, or a little further down his property, that's fine. As long as it's in the same line as where it was.
Yeah, understood.
That's it. It's okay, inshallah. Any other question? Anything you didn't understand?
I understood. Yeah.
Okay, stop there, inshallah. It's a bit difficult because obviously that's something which we see or come across every day, but like I say, we actually need maybe some class or a visual aid, inshallah, to see. But inshallah, I'll try to put something together, and I'll send it to you. You can put it up on the screen, or you can send it to the individuals as okay, whatever is easy, inshallah.
Sure.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum
سبحانك اللهم
salam.
وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك